What if the next African millionaire is not a tech mogul or real estate tycoon, but a fashion designer? With Africa's cultural heritage influencing global trends, the fashion industry on the continent is ripe for disruption. But how exactly will fashion create the next African millionaire? Africa's fashion industry is a multi-billion-dollar market. According to a 2021 report by the African Development Bank, the continent's textile and clothing sector could be worth $15 billion by 2025. This is no surprise considering Africa's population of over 1.2 billion people, most of whom are young, stylish, and eager to embrace both traditional and modern fashion. Fashion hubs are emerging in cities like Lagos, Johannesburg, and Nairobi, where a blend of streetwear and traditional African attire is dominating local runways. African designers are now competing on the global stage, with many showcasing at international fashion weeks. The demand is enormous, driven by the rise of middle-class consumers and social media's influence on fashion choices. African prints like Ankara and Kente are now making appearances in wardrobes globally, while international brands are recognizing the potential and collaborating with African designers. The African fashion scene is increasingly being defined by local talent. Designers like Nigeria's Diola Sago, South Africa's Laduma Nsakalo, and Ghana's Oswald Boating are leading the charge in making African fashion mainstream. These designers have mastered the art of blending African heritage with contemporary styles that resonate with both local and international audiences. However, international brands like Zara, H&M, and Nike are also making waves on the continent. With affordable and trendy options, these global players still dominate the mass-market retail space, leaving African designers to cater to the niche high-end fashion market. Interestingly, African consumers are gradually gravitating toward local brands, as the Made in Africa tag carries more prestige and symbolizes a pride in their heritage. Still, the competition between local designers and foreign brands remains fierce. Are Africans wearing more African wear? Yes, and the trend is growing. African wear, once reserved for cultural festivals and special occasions, is now finding its place in everyday fashion. Ankara prints, dashikis, Kente, and Maasai-inspired beadwork are no longer exclusive to the runways. Streetwear fashion that infuses African culture is becoming the go-to look for younger generations. However, the local market is far from saturated. Many African fashion brands are still in their infancy, creating significant opportunities for growth. Brands like Maxhosa by Laduma from South Africa and Christy Brown from Ghana have managed to gain local and international recognition, but the room for new players remains vast. So, how can investors tap into this burgeoning industry? The fashion supply chain in Africa is ripe for investment. There is a growing demand for locally produced fabrics, and with that comes the need for investment in textile manufacturing, retail infrastructure, and e-commerce platforms. Investing in the African fashion ecosystem means tapping into a market where demand is growing, but supply chains and infrastructure are still developing. Those who provide capital, technical skills, or logistical support to emerging brands will likely reap huge rewards as the industry matures. One particularly lucrative area is sustainable fashion. Africa's focus on natural fabrics like cotton, jute, and wool provides a perfect opportunity for investors to back eco-friendly initiatives that appeal to conscious consumers globally. We spoke with several fashion consumers to understand their preferences. Here's what they had to say. According to Stephanie, a 29-year-old entrepreneur,
I love both African and international brands, but lately, I found myself buying more African designs. It feels more authentic, and I like supporting local businesses.
According to Martha, a university student in Accra,
for special occasions, I always wear African prints, but for everyday casual wear, I prefer brands like Nike or Zara. The local fashion market is still a bit expensive for students like me.
While international brands still hold significant appeal, The shift towards supporting local fashion is undeniable, especially as African designers become more accessible through online platforms and social media. We'd also caught up with fashion designers and shop owners to get their take on the state of the market. For investors looking to cash in, the African fashion market offers plenty of opportunities. One significant area of potential is mass production. Currently, much of African fashion is produced on a small scale. Larger investments in manufacturing could reduce production costs and make African designs more competitive globally. Additionally, e-commerce platforms are rapidly gaining traction. Fashion platforms like Zando, South Africa, and Jumia, Nigeria, had already begun tapping into the fashion industry, providing local designers with a platform to sell their creations to a wider audience. By investing in better logistics, marketing, and supply chain infrastructure, investors can help local designers scale their operations and reach new markets. Another area ripe for investment is sustainable fashion. With global shifts toward eco-friendly practices, African designers are increasingly looking into sustainable materials like organic cotton and recycled textiles. Investors keen on ethical fashion can capitalize on this trend by partnering with designers focused on green fashion solutions. So, can fashion create the next millionaire in Africa? Absolutely. With a growing appetite for local designs, a youthful population, and increasing global interest, the African fashion industry is a goldmine waiting to be tapped. However, success will depend on innovation, scaling operations, and positioning African brands in the global market. Those who can blend tradition with modern trends, while making their designs accessible to the continent's growing middle class, will likely emerge as the new titans of Africa's fashion scene. Who knows? The next millionaire could be sitting in a fashion workshop in Africa, stitching the fabric that will soon take over the global runway. Would you wear more African designs, or do international brands still hold sway in your wardrobe? It's a question that will shape the future of fashion in Africa, and perhaps even the continent's next wave of millionaires. Thank you for watching today's video. What innovative trends are on the horizon, shaping the landscape of tomorrow's business opportunities? Kindly leave your comments and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the New Africa Wealth channel for more informative videos.